Welcome everybody to episode 105 of the ADV podcast. We've got some breaking news for you. There's something crazy going on today in China right now. And we're going to be telling you all about it. We're going to be showing you what it's all about. But before we do, shall we just saunter right into it?
Yeah, I just want to say, guys, I'm not sick anymore.
Yeah, you seem fine to me.
I won't be having cough breaks.
No.
It's like a coffee break.
Sure.
But to cough.
Let's get some cough drops or whatever. Let's head on to what's new then, where we talk about what's new in China. And, well, of course, the main topic of this program is very new. It's bleeding edge. It's happening right now. But we've got some other things we wanted to share with you.
You just say program like a grandpa.
What do you mean?
Like I'm going to watch my programs tonight.
What? It's a program. What do you mean? It's stop.
We're going to read the program.
Like as if...
In Act 2.
Right? Yeah, well, whatever. Programs are cool, all right?
Okay, fair enough.
You want to be a programmer? Learn to code.
Actually.
Learn to code. Anyway, let's get right into it. First of all, this is actually kind of good. What happened here?
Oh, yeah. So the Great Translation Movement, for everyone that's new here, is a group of Chinese people who are going out on the Chinese internet and saying, we've had enough of this kind of language barrier that hides kind of what the government is brainwashing people to think.
Yeah.
Because the government, what they'll do is they'll go and put out xenophobic messages that says, oh, the rest of the world's bad, racist stuff, all kinds of stuff like this.
Yeah.
And they actually allow...
Russia.
Yeah, supporting Russia, and they allow the populace to run amok. Like some of the worst voices to run amok with these sentiments. And so the Great Translation Movement said, if we correct this behavior by showing the rest of the world in English or other languages what they're actually saying, what the government is putting into people's minds, then this behavior might be corrected. Yeah. We think it's an admirable effort. So what happened was that they took one of these, they've been under fire, right?
Yeah.
Like, these Chinese people are cherry picking like the worst of the worst and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So... Actually, good stuff comes out of it.
Because
at Columbia University, what happened was a Chinese student was applying to get in.
Yeah, to the Columbia Engineering
FSU
program. Or whatever it is.
And the Great Translation Movement found a post where he was bragging about how he was going to get guns and shoot Americans with them.
Yeah, he was responding to, he was basically commenting on the subway shooting thing, I believe.
Correct.
But during all that, he said, he's going to America to study at this university. He's just going to buy a gun and he can shoot American people.
And in response to them finding the message, translating and putting it out there, Columbia Engineering Program rejected his application.
They rescinded his application, which is good because you can't just go and say things like that, No. You can't say that you have intent to come to America, buy a gun, and shoot American people.
Correct.
Because those are his words.
Doesn't matter where you are.
Of course.
Can't be saying that.
So, like we said, his application was rescinded to the Columbia Chemical Engineering University. So that's good.
That's good. Good
stuff. Yeah, that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
So the Great Translation Movement are pretty much heroes and probably prevented a potential, terrorist attack on American soil.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, just putting that out there. Anyway, time to move on from that. If you haven't followed the Great Translation Movement, please do. Oh, okay, we're going to play you a little clip. Now, this phone call kind of got sent to me, and then it kind of went around a little bit. But there's a conversation. We're just going to play a little bit of it because it's about 10 minutes long. It's pretty long. We'll play the first minute or so. And it's a German expat living in Shanghai, and, we'll let him just speak so you can hear what's going on. I first have to, of course, set the audio. I always forget to do this. Audio device, and bam. I'll get some volume here so we can hear it. Okay, so we're just going to play this little clip for you, and then we're going to discuss it, because we've got a follow-up. It's not just about this guy. It's about some other foreigners, too. Let's do it.
Hello, are you Ross?
Yes.
Yeah, we are the 居委会评委，you are positive of COVID-19.
I'm not positive. The CDC called me 2 days ago to come to test me, and they never came test me. I was positive about 12 days ago. There is no way I'm still positive, so I'm demanding a new test.
So you think you are negative?
I know I'm negative. There's no thinking.
But now the policy is you have to go to the camping, like something like that.
There is no policy in place. The CDC called me 2 days ago that they will come test me. They have no people. They have no people to come in to test me. So that's not really my problem if there's no personnel. So get the CDC, get them fucked over here, and take a test, and then we can talk.
Yeah, but
I do not care. I do not care about your policy. I really don't care because your system is really fucked up. It doesn't work. I have been in the camp already. They didn't want me. They sent me back home. It's ridiculous. It's a disgrace for you,
I know.
for the government, for Shanghai, for China. It's a really big joke. So get the CDC, come here, take a test. I'll be negative, and then we can talk.
Okay, now before we move on, for those of you who don't know the situation, the guy did test positive and he stayed quarantined in his home for however many days. They took him to a camp, but then they took him back home. And then they phoned him after he'd been testing negative he tested negative a number of times. And they phoned him again saying, okay, now we're going to take you to a quarantine camp. This has actually been happening to a lot of people. People that initially tested positive, but then got over it and then testing negative, even though they've tested negative now consecutively for weeks, because they once tested positive, the government's now coming and taking them to camps, quarantine facilities, even though they are now negative. And I've been seeing a lot of Chinese people complaining about this, and it's an awful situation. It's a big mess up. But the thing to take away from this, because he goes on and he complains and he swears at her and he gets
He sounds like a German.
Yeah, well,
Germans complain a lot.
Well,
I mean,
look, he has reason to complain.
I didn't say he didn't.
Yeah, but what Seamilk and I have kind of discussed this, and we've talked about this, and the absolute ridiculousness of him putting up such a fight about this. Is the fact that he's doing it only because he finally realizes that Shanghai is a part of China, okay? Because when you live in that Shanghai bubble, you're kind of exempt from what goes on in China. You know what I mean?
To a certain extent.
Yeah, what the average Joe at the lower levels of society in China have to suffer.
Like lifestyle stuff. Yeah. Choices, food.
Yeah,
the things
all
like
the
that.
restrictions.
Yeah, restrictions.
When you're living in Shanghai, it honestly does feel like you're living in the first world. And Shanghai has always existed almost as a separate entity to China.
Legally, it's not.
It's not.
But it does unofficially get away with a lot more.
Yeah, but like, like for us, for instance, living down south, and we couldn't ride motorcycles because they're banned in everywhere. Okay, but people in China, what are you talking about? We got a Harley club. You know?
We can ride motorcycles.
Yeah, we can do what we want. That kind of thing.
We're like, shut the fuck
it's like,
up,
dude, come on. It's that kind of thing. So Shanghai people kind of feel as if Shanghai's like the rest of the first world, basically.
Sure.
Okay, so he complains about his cats, that he had to pay a lot of money to get his cats looked after while he was in quarantine. He's going apeshit about how can you call yourself a government's ridiculous, screw the party, screw this, it's all a big joke, it's ridiculous, all that kind of stuff, right? So just to show you that this is not an isolated incident, we've got a second one, and this is a woman. Well, we'll just play it so you can hear.
I don't know where she's from, but she's a foreigner.
Yeah, a foreigner. Yeah. Okay, let's just take a look at the second case here.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna ask again. Can you tell me why you can't transfer me? Tell me why. Tell me. Why cannot I be transferred?
No place.
They're saying there's no place, but then this is not a place for human beings. Even the water is source does not look clean. And then if it's not okay, they bring me back here like this. Is that how it works? Insanity.
A lot of other hospitals, I don't know, but you must.
Yeah, there's no logic in China anymore. I'm so disappointed. You're all disappointed. Everybody's disappointed in Shanghai. Everybody. And I'm so disappointed in Shanghai. I've lived here for 11 years. This is like my home. It's like not a home.
Okay, so guys, we have to point something out here. All right. Number one, we're not trying to get down on people going through a bad experience.
No, I mean, complain.
Here's the thing. What everybody has to go through in Shanghai right now is absolutely unacceptable. Yeah. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're a local, if you're a foreigner, it doesn't matter. But what this demonstrates is this very privileged point that a lot of foreigners have in China. They live a very different lifestyle from your average person.
Yeah.
This woman explains it perfectly. She's like, why can't I be transferred? Mm-hmm. She's in a quarantine camp with a bunch of local Chinese people, but she wants to be transferred because she says the humans can't even live here.
I was going to say, the key message is she turns her camera on, shows the Chinese people and says, this is not a place for human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not gaslighting, by the way.
No.
This is not putting words in her mouth, but the point is that she feels as a foreigner that she should have special privilege here. And I got the same vibes from the German guy, and this is nothing against Germans, nothing against her. I don't know where she's from. But foreigners in general, what we saw when we lived in China was that a lot of them, and this has nothing to do with like everyone that lives there, but a chunk of foreigners that lived in Shanghai just could not understand the fact that when they're living in Shanghai, that their life is somehow not different from yours.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what are you talking, like you said, what are you talking about? I can buy cheese here. Yeah. What are you talking about? I found a shop that has deodorant here.
Sure.
These just absolutely like crazy things that we never saw in China somehow exist in this foreign bubble in Shanghai. Yeah. And it really creates this element of, I'm a foreigner in China, so I get special privilege, even in a city that already has special privileges. Yeah. I'm above this, right? Yeah. I don't like that vibe. I just don't like that, because we've always been on the same level as the locals.
That's correct. Well, I mean, here's the real end point of all this, is that Shanghai people have not been exempted from the current lockdowns. No. Okay? Usually Shanghai will get away with, whatever's going on in China as a whole, Shanghai can kind of avoid it, if you know what I mean. If there's something kind of negative going on in China, it won't really affect people's lives in Shanghai. And Beijing too, in the bigger cities usually, but Shanghai specifically is always kind of exempt. So, people living there, the rich, sophisticated Chinese people living there, the foreigners living there, they enjoy this first world lifestyle. Yeah. Now, this is very unfair what's happening to them and everybody in Shanghai. And we know there's a big political motivation behind the fact that the people of Shanghai are being squeezed extra hard right now.
We're getting more and more confirmation on that.
But it just shows you that this is actually how China operates. Mm-hmm. Your freedoms can be taken away from you in a split second. And this is finally being noticed by some of these foreigners. That's why they're throwing out a hissy fit. Like she said, she's been living in Shanghai for 11 years. First of all, she can't speak Chinese.
Yeah, 如果你只在上海11年，为什么你还没说中文啊？
That's right. If you
还没学习中文。
Exactly. If you have been living there for so long, surely you should be able to speak Chinese to the person.
If you're going to have so many complaints, certainly you should be speaking Chinese.
Yeah.
To get your point across to the people in China. Yeah. You're in China.
And so when the Chinese, the machine of the Chinese government suddenly touches you finally, and you realize, wait, what? Then you're suddenly, this is not a place for humans. I want to be transferred, starts shouting, oh, Shanghai is a disgrace, all this kind of stuff. Come on. So what we're trying to say here is, first of all, it doesn't help to behave like that. When you're in China, you have to realize you are in China, and that's how it operates. Okay? Number two, it's not your fault. I get it. Any normal person would probably react like that, to be honest. Any normal person, but you have to realize where you are.
Yeah.
Okay? If you're eating junk food and you get fat, you got to realize that it's kind of your fault for eating the junk food. Yeah. Okay? And if you're in China and your freedoms get taken away, you got to realize that it's kind of your fault for living in China. Yeah. Under the CCP.
Yeah.
And it's no fault of the local Chinese people. It's no fault of these foreigners. It's a fault of the government. But again, there is a little bit of blame to be cast on you for not realizing where you are.
Yeah, I wanted to take just a very moderate approach here. I could see, the system there is absolutely effed. It's so unreasonable what's happening to people in Shanghai. And it's actually, for the first time in my life, I can say this about Shanghai people, is that you're getting the short end of the stick here for a lot of reasons politically. And it's bad. My heart goes out to everyone there. But the foreigners that are just now experiencing 1% of what CCP restriction actually looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta understand, you should have seen this coming from a long time away. Yeah. Shanghai still is in mainland China. When they want to throw the book at it, they will. And it just kind of makes, I don't want to be like Marco Polo over here and we went through the real hard China,
And we don't want to try to be elitist.
I'm not trying to be elitist, but when you see how 99% of people outside of Shanghai live, and when you interface with those people, you're out in the countryside and we're having a bowl of noodles with someone or just chatting with people about their daily problems and things like this. It's so different than what you're complaining about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's not, again, of course you should complain about this. It's a bullshit situation and you're being treated unfairly for sure. So no hate to these people.
Yeah.
Just want some perspective out there. And I think it unfair, let me just cap this off by saying, when these people are the voices of what the injustice is happening, because they can get their media out there, because they're foreigners, right? it kind of gives this weird, unfair picture that China is actually more reasonable than it is, because they're complaining about like the first tier of the top level of society.
They're like, look, this is not a place for humans. But
right.
I'll tell you what,
it's
what she's showing there is if you've seen what these quarantine facilities look like, the one that she's showing here looks very reasonable and clean in comparison. Okay, it's awful. It is, but at the same time, you know, it's pretty reasonable and clean. Now, here's my thing. I don't want to get down on the expats in Shanghai. It's not fair to do that. But I want to ask.
Not at all.
I want to ask the more entitled foreigners living in Shanghai right now. What do you think about, for instance, the situation in Xinjiang with the Uyghurs now? Now that you've had a little taste of what the Chinese government can do, when they say that they're going to lock people up in their houses, when they say that you must get tested and you must go to quarantine camps and you have no say in it, do you now maybe realize that all of these things that the Uyghurs have been complaining about and human rights activists have been going on about for years and years, like real things, people escaping and telling their stories about these horrible things that have been happening to them and that they've had no choice and no freedom to escape it? Do you now take a little bit of what they said, truthfully now? Do you actually understand it? Can you have some empathy and compassion?
Again, this is, I half read the chat when we're doing this, by the way, and I understand that some of you may think this sounds elitist, but it's not. And we're not trying to be like the heroes of poverty or something here, but I like to use the Uyghurs as an example, because that is something that's contested amongst the elite foreigners in China that say, you know what, well, I'm here, and I personally haven't seen that.
Yeah, but you're there living in Shenzhen or Shanghai or
you're like,
Beijing.
Oh, yeah, well, that's over there, and maybe that's not even happening. But also, I think a great example is just the average Lao Bai Xing, like the average person in China that's not in a first-tier city.
Yeah.
How many of them have we made meaningful connections with? Thousands, right? And those people are in such a world far removed from your own that maybe now you can kind of understand that China is not necessarily a utopia of Pudong or Sanlitun or these areas of first-tier cities or Nanshan or something like this. China exists outside of these utopias that have been built up to show foreigners that China has developed.
Yes.
And the average Chinese person has to suffer so greatly throughout their life due to government corruption, poverty, right? And a host of other problems, just a lack of any sort of representation or rights. And maybe you're getting a taste of that now.
Well, I saw some statistics that say about 48% of foreigners that are living in Shanghai have now changed their minds and are going to leave once they can. Or whatever.
Yeah,
because I guess this is the first time they've actually experienced how scary it can be when you live underneath a government that can at any moment take your freedom away. Because that's what's happened. People are still locked up. I've got friends in Shanghai that they were part of the initial lockdown. They've been locked up for over a month now.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. Same.
And imagine that. This idea that, okay, we're locked down now, but the government kind of told us that we'd be out in 5 days or whatever.
Yep.
A month later, you're still locked up. And then there have been cases in China where, the lockdown goes away and then they're allowed out and then suddenly a new lockdown happens. So you never know when this could happen next. Now imagine living in that uncertainty. You're living in a country where literally, maybe you get through this one lockdown and you kind of go back to normal, but it can all just happen all over again overnight. You could lose your freedom in a minute. And it's like being in prison. It really is. There's no difference between, in fact, in prison, it's more set up to make sure you get 3 square meals a day and so on. This is kind of like
more uncertain.
Yeah, it's a more uncertain prison. Yeah. You're not allowed out of your apartment complex. You're not allowed to walk in the streets.
That's a good
You're not even allowed yard time. That's the thing. In prison, you get yard time where you can walk around the yard and play sports and exercise. You can't even do that.
No.
It's worse than prison in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways,
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we're not done with the foreign elitism, by the way.
No, we're not.
Even the water its source does not look clean.
Oh shit, you're in China.
The water source is never clean. I'm sorry to say, but you can't drink the water.
You can't drink the water in China.
No.
You just realized this or what? I guess they're drinking their fancy ass. I'm not gonna.
No, we don't.
Guys.
Okay, look, there's a thing about Shanghai elitism, especially amongst foreigners, and we've been copping a lot of shit from them over the years.
Oh man,
and that's
even in the chat. And guys, you're our brothers and sisters too.
Yes.
We're all humans here. We just think that there should be equal representation for the Chinese people.
Yes,
because they're always the losers in this.
Yeah,
right. They always lose the worst.
Yeah, and
they can't actually put a video out. Imagine if a Chinese person put this video out.
Yeah.
They're fucked.
Yeah.
They're done. Their life's over.
Yeah, you can't complain like this.
That's not.
And then
it's not fair. It's just not fair.
It's not fair.
Back here, like this. Is that how it works? Insanity.
But I get it. I mean, I'm happy they put this out.
Hospital, I don't know. But
gives perspective.
Yeah, there's no logic in China anymore. I'm so disappointed. You're all disappointed. Everybody's disappointed in Shanghai. Everybody.
That always helps to scream.
I'm so disappointed in Shanghai. I've lived here for 11 years. This is like my home. It's like not a home.
Okay, so now here's the height of this arrogance.
This is beyond that.
Yeah.
This is like astronomically beyond that.
So a couple of the high level tanky pro CCP guys, the guys connected to Chinese state media.
I mean, one of them's labeled as Chinese state
media.
Yeah,
of course. They decided that they're going to do this thing on Twitter, okay? So this guy says, we literally have too much food now, while hashtag China experts on the other side of the world are trying to convince you that people in hashtag Shanghai are starving to death. Again, the hashtags, it's a tanky thing, isn't it?
It's a dog whistle.
Yeah, it really is. Look at this ridiculousness. So he shows his food, like his haul, and he's like saying, look, I've got way too much food right now. So what is everyone talking about? Now, we have to put a bit of context into this. They did this little Twitter maneuver, this little stunt, a day after the Chinese government finally delivered a big food package to everyone. Okay?
You say everyone.
I mean, not everyone, to the top level people. Remember, we've told you about this. Shanghai hukou holders, and specifically foreigners, and absolutely 100% foreigners that are connected to media or have some kind of social media presence, have had priority over receiving these packages.
Confirmed, because I have friends there that did not receive jack shit.
Yeah.
Because they're not influencers.
Correct, yeah.
Not to mention the Chinese people.
Yeah, no, of course. So while these people were bragging about, look at, I've got, 12 eggs and...
We literally have too much food right now. Who writes that?
Yeah. It's
when he fully knows what's happening. That's the worst part.
And of course, the Chinese state media boredom guy here is like, don't judge me for the mess, and posts his well-stocked fridge.
It's like a slap in the face. Oh my God, if I was living there, I would cry.
Well, I mean, one of the other foreigners living in China took exception to this, actually, and he posted a picture of his fridge, which is completely empty, and he named all these guys, said that the guy who started the thread is a douchebag, and so are all these other people that were named in the thread, and all the other useful white monkey idiots. Okay?
That's right.
Because, look, this guy's got literally like 3 bottles of water and a jar of pickles or something. I mean, a jar of like sauce. That's it. Okay? Anyway, like the guy who was like, we literally have too much food right now. When you take a look at his fridge, which is above us here, the guy with too much food, he's literally got a can of soda with cling wrap on it because he's probably rationing it. He's got a 1 tin of Spam. You can look up that. This is way too much food, by the way.
Yeah.
Seriously, a bunch of vegetables.
I literally have too much food.
You've got to take that can of soda for scale, by the way. Refrigerators in China are small because apartments are small. Yeah. Okay. This is a tiny refrigerator. Yeah. And you can use that can of whatever it is, 7-Up or whatever, as scale. This is not a lot of food. This is enough to feed a family of 3 for like 2 or 3 days.
And this is the priority package.
Yeah. And this is like the guy saying, we literally have far too much food here. We just wanted to point out that somebody else received the exact same Spam. See, it's the same brand of Spam. And it looks a little off. What do you say?
Mean, that has to be either so old or had like an air leak in it.
It must have had an air leak.
That being said, this is the quality of food that people are receiving.
Yeah.
And this is, again, go back to the previous thing. I want people to just make sure that they understand the absolute ridiculousness of this. When you have people that are Chinese state media that go and say, look, everyone, I am so much more important than you.
Yeah.
The absolute just especially this Andy guy, the sheer privilege and hypocrisy and lies. Because listen, we know that he knows what's happening. We know I can say this for a fact.
Yeah.
But to go out there, I mean, probably state media calls someone up like this and goes, "Hey, can you how'd you like that package? Can you post your fridge now?"
Yeah, let's like try to squash rumors that people are starving.
The slap in the face to any Chinese people that have seen that.
Yeah.
That have big families, by the way. This guy's just one dude, right? Big families, kids and everything, and they're getting their food stolen.
Yeah.
They're having to break the law
Yeah.
to go like skirt around stuff and pay delivery drivers thousands of RMB.
Did we tell them last time?
I don't think so.
So a buddy of mine, in his building, the only way that they could get food is through these kind of clandestine delivery guys that are doing it under the table. But they will only, like, get this, to deliver KFC costs 6,000 RMB.
$1,000.
It's $1,000. And I think we did tell everyone. But the fact of the matter is, people have to club together to first get the $1,000 together to pay the delivery guy. Then they place like a group order for KFC, and then the guy like does it because it's high risk.
Yeah.
And kind of like
you get arrested.
puts it over the wall at the back there and stuff. People are coming up with barter systems. There are people that are completely... They're lacking medicines, they're lacking food, all of this kind of crap. And you've got these arrogant assholes out there saying, "Oh yeah, what are you talking about? Let them eat cake, basically." Because look, I've got a fridge. They know. I got a fridge full of stuff. These people that are complaining that they don't have food, that's just being made up by some anti-China smear campaign or something.
Yeah, I mean, and these are the same guys that watch the pets get beaten to death.
Yeah.
And they have pets.
Correct.
Right? And they're like, well, hope that doesn't happen to me. You know what I mean?
they just don't acknowledge it. These are the guys that are called out when all the pets were being beaten to death.
And the thing is, in private, a lot of these people know what's happening.
Of course
right?
they do.
And they talk about it, right?
Yeah, they got it.
No, of course. And then later on, they'll say, yeah, that was an isolated case.
Sure.
And that was the guard that beat the dog. That was his personal choice, not the government.
Sure.
It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, it's incredibly poor taste. That's why, somebody living in Shanghai at the exact same time would post something like this. They're like, screw you, man. Look at your brimming to the, full ass fridge. This is what I've got. Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
You cannot go out there and do a stupid publicity stunt like that and not insult the entire population of Shanghai.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people are going through a hard time. You're making fun of them.
Yeah.
It's absolutely disgusting. So yeah, I guess that's our whole thing about like the privileged, the nonce class. What would you even call them? The douche class of Shanghai, really.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like the the people that are lying on behalf of China that we're really going after here.
Correct. Yes.
But anyway, this has made me die laughing.
Yeah.
This is and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a personal story here, but when I this is his personal computer,
of course, because you use it for your presentations, right?
Right, and he's at the College of Veterinary Medicine. He goes up, and he obviously wanted to load up his PPT, his PowerPoint or whatever.
Yeah.
Do people in the West call it PPT, or is that a China thing?
Yeah, maybe. I guess you'd call it, maybe in the West it's a PowerPoint presentation. We just say a PPT, yeah.
So he loads up his PowerPoint presentation, but it was his wallpapers in the background, which I think he probably had forgotten. Yeah. Because you know what happens when you plug in those projectors? Yeah. It'll actually show your desktop instead of whatever you had on there. Yeah, because it sets it
up as a different screen or whatever.
So he's probably working on it, had it up there, and he's like, well, he forgot about it, obviously. Yeah. And then his face is, I mean, him just bearing his head in his hand just makes me want to die. I love it.
Yeah.
But when I was in China, I was working in universities, they would have these kind of computers under glass.
Yeah.
And they'd be hooked up to something like this, right? Like a whiteboard, basically. Much worse conditions. This is like a nice school.
Sure.
And what it would be like they'd have an OS on there.
Yeah, Windows XP.
Windows XP, but it would be so compromised and so messed up with malware that you could barely do anything. Yeah. And they would have this virus scanner called Sanliuling, which is like a 360 scanner. Yeah, and
it overtakes the entire computer. It installs its own browser.
Yeah, so I was going to say, they came out with their own browser.
Yeah.
And the problem with it was, obviously, they use malware and things to put targeted ads and all this kind of stuff on there, right?
Right.
And so what would happen is it would actually hijack your searches.
Yeah.
So instead of like, if you're searching like on Google Images or something, you want to type in like a horse. It'll show a horse, right?
Yeah. Well, you can't access Google, but
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you are on Google,
Yeah.
You know, how you expect it to work. Now in China, when you're on one of these compromised ass computers, you type, I was trying to explain what a meme was. I didn't know the Chinese word for meme at the time.
Yeah.
This is a long time ago.
Sure.
And meme just was kind of a newish word in English, right? So I'm like, oh, let me type it in. So I typed it in to go to try to translate it. And it pops up with all of this like hentai.
Right.
But Chinese hentai.
Okay.
So, you know, like porn's banned
Sure.
in China. But like there's so many loopholes and stuff. So all these like, play this hentai game, like hentai girls and all this kind of stuff pops up all over the screen. I was like, what the? Because I just typed in meme and Baidu Translate or something, and it hijacks and then searches this like basically just a bunch of cartoon porn.
Yeah.
Pops up and I'm like, what the? What
I know.
am I supposed to do here?
In front of a bunch of kids. Yeah.
So embarrassed, but you know, at some of the dudes were laughing.
Yeah.
But by and large, everyone was just so used to it. They didn't even bat an eyelid.
Sure.
Now, this guy is a different story because he made his wallpaper.
Yeah, that's his wallpaper. Right. He chose that, yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. All right. So, do we have anything else in What's New? Oh, we do. Remember this lovely picture. This was a Chinese artist trying to depict America as an evil, terrible force, right?
Yeah, you
but
remember that, right?
all he ever ended up doing is make America look badass.
Oh, I mean, let's just pause it there for a second.
Yeah.
Which team do you want to be? Like, if you have a choice to pick, which team do you want to be on?
I'd be on that, like, Thunderbird cloud-looking eagle thing. I wouldn't be like, let's just stand here like a bunch of spectators. You know what I mean?
That thing is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not a very patriotic person.
Right.
I would say I'm a patriot in that, like, I believe in the values of my country.
Sure.
And I'll do anything to fight for it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not, like, a nationalist, right? When I see this picture, I full patriot mode. I hear an eagle screech in my heart.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty cool.
Incredible.
It is such a cool picture. So they made a new one. This time, Chinese artist has made this. Okay.
I mean, paint me red, white, and blue at this point.
Yeah. So
this is like incredible.
This is supposed to be America, right? This, what do they call it? Military-industrial complex or whatever. So you've got this big monster, which looks kind of like the alien from Aliens. Well, from Alien. It's got like an F-14 as a shoulder. It's got an aircraft carrier as part of it.
Take us out of there so people can see the rest.
Stinger missiles. You know what I mean? It's pretty badass. You can see the full thing. And the only thing standing up to this huge monster, which by the way is backing Ukraine because there's a Ukrainian tank there, is a Russian tank.
So China, again, backing Russia.
So Chinese artists made this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're feeding this beast money, piles of money, kind of like the military-industrial complex, while the boss at the top sits on top, is like the commander of this alien-looking thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It
looks
cool.
amazing. Now,
cool.
I don't endorse war in any form. I'm a bit of a pacifist. But I got to say, from a comic book perspective, that's badass.
Yeah, and I don't really get what the message is here because they're fighting against a military tank. So it's like, what is the statement here? Is that well, there's military fighting military, but one of them is better than the other.
It's kind of like the tools used by the Americans here are much superior to the Russians. This is what I take away.
It's kind of interesting they choose an F-14 Tomcat because that's really old tech, developed in the 50s or whatever, Yeah. So I guess.
Yeah, why that? They don't use those anymore.
No, dude, they were retired in the 90s.
Right.
So I don't know.
I guess they probably had a touch.
Yeah.
Stuck in Top Gun or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it is. Totally. Anyway.
Awesome picture. So I just wanted to say congratulations and thank you to the Chinese artists that are trying to make America look bad because you're just bolstering.
You just make America look badass.
Yeah, like to people on the fence, they'll look at this and they'll be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
I hope they have a toy line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else do we have over here? We got some Da Bai's doing something.
Oh, so this, guys.
Okay.
You know what lime is?
Yes.
I'm just rhetorically to the audience. You know what lime is? I'm not talking about, there's a lot of non-English.
It's not lemon and lime,
I understand. There's a lot of people out there that don't speak English as a first language that listen to us. Lime is a caustic mineral, right?
Yeah.
And it's used for a multitude of reasons, right? But lime by itself is very caustic. It will cut through...
It'll cut through your skin.
It'll cut
burns
through
away your
concrete.
skin. They actually use lime to get rid of decomposing bodies. If you put it on a dead body, it'll actually eat away the body.
It's also funny. Binlang,
like
the nut that they use in Taiwan. How do you say it in English again?
Betel nut.
Betel nut.
Yeah.
They take the betel nut and it gets you high. You chew it and it gets you high.
But only if you put a little bit of lime as a...
Only if you put lime in it. Do you know why? Because what it does is it cuts your cheek open so it gets in your bloodstream.
Really?
That's exactly why they do it. 100%.
I don't think so. I think it's more of a chemical thing.
No,
but...
I did. That's the leaf.
Well, okay, we'll just...
I did a documentary on it, and I talked to the people that make it.
Well, we'll take a look. We'll look it up. Yeah?
Listen. Okay, I'll look it up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
I know that it's a transport mechanism, but I think it's chemical.
The slaked lime is seen as a particular problem as it causes hundreds of tiny abrasions.
Yeah, that's after using it for a long time.
No, that's actually what it does. The reason for adding slaked lime to betel nut is to improve the absorption of alkaloid stimulants in the bloodstream because it cuts your mouth open.
No.
Yes.
You don't know shit about chemicals. Look, it does improve. It works as a transport chemical. It's got nothing to do about cutting your... There's a byproduct of using it for too long is it will create sores and stuff in your mouth. But that's not...
Yeah, because...
It's not... No, it's not. It doesn't cut your mouth.
It does.
It doesn't.
It makes tiny little abrasions so it can be sucked into your bloodstream. It's literally what the guy who made it told me. He made it for 20 years.
Yeah, well, it doesn't mean he knows anything about it.
It's true.
It's like the guy who makes
alcohol.
alcohol.
The leaf. Do you understand? The nut is wrapped in a leaf. The areca nut and the betel nut. That's what creates the combination chemicals.
No, the lime is the transport chemical.
Because that's what makes it go into your bloodstream.
Agree to disagree. We'll look it up properly later. You guys can correct me or correct him. It doesn't matter. We could both be wrong here. Okay? Yeah. We could both be completely wrong. But the fact of the matter is what these Dabai are doing. By the way, Dabai is what people call these guys in the hazmat suits. Yeah. The stormtroopers.
We'll continue this debate afterwards, but we can have like a little thing going on in the subreddit.
in Yamcha we'll figure it out.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay.
We'll figure it out at Yamcha at the end of the show. Okay. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, what are these guys doing with lime?
So the idea was, and this is, let me show you how effed up. Sorry for running my F words too much today. I'll try to calm down. So this is, what they're doing is that there was this thing that was going around where the government in Shanghai was saying, we are using disinfectants and it's clearly not working.
Yeah, because they've been walking around with those. Right. You've seen them spraying this chemical disinfectant everywhere, which is obviously terrible for the environment and for people's health.
Horrible, right? So what they do is they go, you know what? Stronger is caustic lime.
Yeah.
So what they actually did, and let me show you how this, you know that picture of the military-industrial complex?
Yeah.
That's kind of like how China works when someone has guanxi, which means a connection. So obviously a lime company, because it was promoted in the beginning, by the way.
Yeah.
A lime company got some sort of contract, right?
Yeah.
With the local government. And the local government's like, we're going to spread lime everywhere. And they buy it in massive quantities. And the company's like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Probably because they had Baijiu one night and they said, this is going to be a good idea, mutually beneficial. We're getting central government money, can trickle down here. You can use it in our lime factory.
Yeah.
Right? So these poor bastards, some of these guys don't have ventilators on.
Yeah.
Imagine breathing that.
No, it's bad. It's very bad for you. The fact of the matter is, though, that they're throwing it on the road to disinfect it. That's what the whole premise behind this is.
Because COVID is on the street, right? On the ground.
Yeah. What they're going to do is actually damage the road and also damage the foliage next to the road because they're throwing it on there as well. It's going to kill those plants.
Easily.
And it's not good to have this kind of caustic crap around, for people to breathe and what have you.
So bad.
It's a very bad idea. And in fact, this whole idea that they've been running around. We should have got that clip with the chemical stormtroopers, Yeah. They've been running around spraying huge amounts of disinfectant chemicals on everything and everywhere. They're even talking about now removing people from their homes and going into their homes to spray this chemical disinfectant on everything, even if you're negative.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to reach for ways to stop the spread of COVID. And now they're like, well, it must be coming from somewhere, so let's get people out their homes, completely disinfect their homes, and then put them back in.
New report today, by the way, from the Chinese government. You won't believe this, but again, imported cases are the reason for COVID in China, and they're all coming from international packages.
Oh, it's international
packages. They're doing it again.
It's dumb. Anyway, so we just thought we'd show you some of this madness. This is what happens when you just don't know what you're doing and you throw things against the wall and hope something sticks. You know what I mean? All right. So now the main focus of the show is this, like we said, this bleeding edge thing that's happening right now.
Yeah, we should answer a couple.
And we're going to answer just a few super chats and we're going to jump right into it and we're going to explain to you exactly what's going on because it's quite incredible. So, yeah, it's got to do about the censored video. So what do we got?
Ready? This is from Angry Dragon. He says, sorry I haven't been able to show up. I've been busy. Vanity Fair made...
Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Vanity Fair made an article linking Balsac with the CCP.
You mean this guy? You mean this guy?
The CCP also made a fake crypto that they call VeChain.
Oh, really?
What a surprise. And another crypto that they made called Neo.
Oh.
And he finishes up by saying CCP-owned Tsingshan manipulated the nickel market. I keep hearing about nickel markets. What's that about? You know?
Yeah, there's a big thing about it. I don't know, but I did look into it at some point.
I don't know. What is nickel used for nowadays?
Well, you've heard of a nickel, right?
Yeah, stop.
Obviously, nickel is a metal that's used in all sorts of manufacturing processes, and it's actually very important.
I get that. I'm not going to do this right now.
Yeah.
People are asking for a poll. Next is Charles Womack. Have you thought about hiring an assistant? No. Thank you, though. Thank you for the suggestion. David Lopan, thank you very much. Gentlemen, CCP is expanding its shared cultural history with the Himalayas. Can you speak to China's expansionism in the region? Definitely, and they're crossing into Bhutan, which is really bad. And India as well, right?
Yeah,
and
doing
Nepal.
that salami slicing thing.
Nepal has a really good relationship with China, unfortunately, which means we can't go there anymore. Yeah. But Bhutan is definitely, they're absorbing entire villages there, which is ridiculous because it's a very neutral country. They didn't ask for this. Deanne Chapman, good morning, guys. Can't watch today. I'm off for my Czech ride, pre-test ride. Have fun.
Oh,
good luck on your test, my man.
Good luck. We're looking forward to good news.
Yeah, let me just finish these ones the pre-show chat.
Okay, sure.
Will Smith slapping Xi Jinping. Perfect meme idea. The daddy chill. What the heck is even that? I love that video. Yeah. It's perfect metaphor for the CCP Red Guard. It's apropos, yes. Yeah. All that she wants is another baby. She's gone tomorrow.
Ace of base.
Yep. I'll have to admit something. This is from Shifty. I secretly love South African gnomes.
Oh, no.
Ooh, your enemy. I'm not even reading a super chat. This is just my way of coming out. Please accept me for who I am. I hope we can still be friends.
We can still be friends, but just don't bring your gnomes around, okay?
Okay.
Okay, that's all.
David Lopan, would you say that CCP is still making it so China goes down with Russia's sinking ship? I think there's a lot of internal talk about that.
Yeah.
Because obviously the people in the Shanghai clique, right? The people that ran the show prior to Xi Jinping obviously don't want to see China go down.
No.
And they probably think that they're back in the wrong team. If you think about it, it's common logic, right?
Yeah.
The people that were friendly to America before, we saw China go up. And now that China's going down and choosing Russia, China's going down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like very basic logic to think about.
Absolutely.
Last one.
Okay.
Whoa, here she comes. She's a man eater. Oh, here she comes. Hurry up. She will chew you up.
Yeah, it's Hall and Oates, right?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so now we're going to hit our main segment, which is Soft Power Hour, where we talk about how China is trying to change your minds using media, censorship, and various other ways. And now we have the most ridiculous thing to tell you. Probably the stupidest thing that you could imagine could ever happen when it comes to China. And they have censored their own national anthem.
Are you sure? Let's see.
Okay, let's take a little look here. We're going to play you a little segment, the first line, in fact, of the national anthem. I'll get us out of here. Okay, yeah.
So, 起来不愿做奴隶的人们 means arise, like stand up.
Yeah, 起来 means stand up.
Yeah, get up.
Yeah, and 坐下来 means sit down. And you know what? I think they should change, the Chinese government should change this, because what they should say is 滚开不愿做奴隶的人们.
Do you know why?
Means just F off.
F off. Because, I'll tell you what, no disrespect to the Chinese national anthem.
No disrespect to the Chinese.
Because they banned their own anthem.
They did. Basically,
they're telling themselves to F off.
This first line, which basically means stand up those who don't want to be slaves, has been used by people in Shanghai. You know, they've been posting it around to show their dissatisfaction.
Because it's a form of that line is a revolutionary line in the song.
Yes.
So it's perfectly appropriate for this.
Yeah.
Right? Stand up against the government. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Stand up against the government like the prior government.
Yeah.
Because we want to have a revolution. We're not going to be slaves anymore. That's what they're using it for. Yes. It's very appropriate.
Yeah. So the hashtag, 起来, stand up if those who don't want to be slaves, has been banned on Weibo and all of Chinese social media, that you cannot search that hashtag anymore.
Right.
Okay? Which is crazy. That's their national anthem. So they had to ban the first line of their own national anthem because it was being used as a form of protest by the people who feel like they're being treated as slaves in Shanghai.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Doesn't that just show you how they don't respect their own national anthem? They don't respect their own doctrine. They don't respect their own constitution or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
They don't respect their own rules.
No.
And that's China, the Chinese government for you right there.
I mean, I just don't know how anyone apologizes for this government anymore.
Yeah.
It's just so obvious what their playbook is. Yeah. People have no say. Yeah. It's not the People's Republic of China.
No.
The people have nothing.
It's more like the Communist Party's Republic of China.
Yeah. And
that's all it is.
But it's not, they don't, but it's with Chinese characteristics so that they have that clause in there. They don't have to provide socialist benefits.
I got some caustic lime in my eye.
Getting that absorption in there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's how you do your drugs.
Freaking caustic lime. Yeah. Anyway.
For a while, they banned 起来不愿做奴隶的人们.
Well, they banned the hashtag, and I'm pretty sure it's still banned. You can still look up the phrase, but the hashtag is completely wiped off of
because
the
that's a method of searching.
People were using that hashtag to put out, their posts about being dissatisfied about their situation in Shanghai. Yeah.
So that's why they did it.
It's kind of interesting, and it kind of ties into what's going on right now.
It does.
Because what's happening right now in China is there's a video, okay?
Oh, this is just what I wanted to show what happened if you tried to use that.
So yes.
According to relevant laws, regulations, and policies, and for some reason that got cut off, but it says that it's no results.
Yeah, that's if you try to use the hashtag.
Yes.
Or try to search the hashtag. Okay. So there's been a video that's been going on. Oh, this is something else before that as well. Weibo has censored the phrase chuckle.
So it's just like a hashtag. If people were using that as like a dog whistle, basically, to bring this stuff up.
Yeah.
And I says, well, 看看我能不能偷着了? It means like when I see this, can I just chuckle?
Yeah, exactly. How on earth did caustic lime get in my eyes?
Did you really get something bad in it? It was probably hand sanitizer or something, right?
Who knows, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter, it'll go away. Now we're getting to the actual thing. Oh, we're not. We've still got this to talk about, sorry.
You jump at the gun.
Well, we've got to talk about the important thing, yeah.
I did the media pack because I'm disconnected.
All right, okay, so what is this all about? Beijing hip-hop.
This is an underground rapper in Beijing, and this is in Beijing. Yeah. This is not abroad. Now, I'm going to blow your guys' minds if you can understand this. In China, when there's dissent, it's between friends. Like, hey, dude, fuck this CCP stuff, am I right?
Sure.
And it's like you talk about it, and it's maybe, well, don't let that get out. You wouldn't want to put it in your WeChat group. I mean, this stuff exists, but it's very subdued.
Yeah, it's too risky.
I mean, you have the government banning like candle emojis and not letting people type in their own national anthem.
Yeah, their own national anthem.
You understand what level of control the Chinese government has. If you put anything out there on the internet or in public or whatever, they will find you immediately.
Was that Beijing?
You're done.
That's right, yeah. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Just put a little WhatsApp Beijing because, this is in Beijing. Yeah.
So what if I told you there was a rapper here that made a straight up anti-government, anti-CCP rap?
Yeah.
Right?
Guy's got balls.
And he literally did. He played it live. And it's out there on YouTube. I put the link in the description. This is the kind of stuff you don't usually see. Yeah. This stuff is culminating.
I mean, you could see he's performing his anti-CCP rap live. This guy's got
in China.
Got huevos or whatever you call them.
Rancheros.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This guy's got chose,
Oh yeah,
I mean, he's got done.
Totally, man. Anyway,
we just wanted to. I'm shocked at how much this stuff is coming out now.
Yeah,
it's wild.
So now, what you see behind us are a bunch of posts on Pengyelchuen, which means your moments. Which is what would the equivalent of a moments be? It's kind of like your Instagram feed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an Instagram.
Say that. Yeah. It's like
an Instagram feed. Now, every day, people on WeChat, because you can talk to each other, but then you've got the Pengyelchuen, which you can click, and then all your friends, whatever they decide to post publicly, comes up like an Instagram feed.
It's just like an Instagram feed.
So anyway, people have been posting this one video. Now, the video is called the Sounds of April.
Yes.
Okay? And you can see the Chinese for it there. Now, here's the thing.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Yeah. When you try to click the videos, it's like, sorry, it doesn't exist. They're up for a second, they get taken down. So people started to share a QR code for people to link to this video. Okay?
Yeah.
We're going to get into like what actually happened with that QR code, but here's just a random
I just gotta
going
say,
through WeChat and look at this. Look at all the people that are posting this video, right? Look at this craziness. Everybody's posting this video. Some of them are posting it backwards, some of them upside down.
I open my WeChat and the same people that are posting like down with the rest of the world, we love China, our motherland, with camera and sickles, are posting this.
This is crazy.
I've never seen in 10 years in China and then after leaving now for a few years.
Yeah.
I have never seen something posted this much before.
Yeah. Look, these are actual screenshots from WeChat right here.
And this is a dissent. This is dissent.
Yeah.
This is government dissent.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I had to blur the names because we can't throw any of these people under the bus because, you know, anyway, the fact of the matter is you see the videos being posted, you see the QR code being posted, okay? What this all is people want to share this video, okay? It's insane.
I can't big this up enough.
Here on Weibo, it's the most posted video today, and it's the most censored video. Look,
it goes anti-government video, and it's the most posted video on the Chinese internet.
Yeah.
That's it's unheard of. It's unprecedented.
Yeah, you're going to see why. We're going to show you the video, and we've got subtitles on it. Okay, but now even the QR code has been wiped out.
Yes.
Okay? They've disabled the QR code. People have been putting up all these like signs like, you know, like help China type thing. Look, Shanghai 404. This is our thumbnail. It means you can't find it anymore because everyone who posts this video keeps getting deleted and censored within seconds.
I wish I had actual figures for you, but leave it up there. Leave that up there.
Okay.
So just some perspective on this. When there's something that goes out there that the Chinese government doesn't like, let's say somebody posts a video of cops punching somebody and they get knocked out because they're running in the street and they're saying like, I want food.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That gets scrubbed immediately,
Sure.
right? And it'll get passed around, but nobody will say this is the catalyst because this is what makes me hate the government. They'll say, "Oh, screw that! Like that guy that overstepped his boundaries,
Sure.
right? Whatever." And then it'll get erased. No one will talk about it anymore. Have you ever? I gotta ask you. Have you ever seen an anti-Chinese government post go this crazy in China before?
And the reason is, like you say, it gets wiped out, and people they start to realize, look, it's being deleted for a reason. If I try to post this, I'm going to get into trouble. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
But this has gathered so much steam. But
they have shut it down.
They've shut it down, but it's incredible how much steam
it's wild.
It gathered, and people kept trying to find ways around it.
It gave me the chills. I was like, what the? Wow.
Yeah, and you could actually watch in real time as you were scrubbing through your WeChat or your Weibo, seeing these posts just disappearing.
Millions and millions disappearing.
Yeah.
But that means that hundreds of millions of people have already probably seen this.
Yeah.
Every single person I know in China has seen this.
Yeah.
Right? And it's wild to me that it's spread outside of Shanghai as well. It's not just Shanghai circles.
Yeah.
This spread nationally. And this is the first time I've seen something where people are like, fuck this. I'm going to fucking post it no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know what got into people or like why this... It's so unprecedented. I'm not trying to big it up. You guys should see it. But like, I've never seen anything like this escape into the wild like this in China.
Yeah, it's insane. So now when you scan that QR code, look, now it even says that page cannot be accessed. They've actually even disabled the QR code. It's crazy what's going on here because that QR code is linking to an external site outside of China. That's the thing. So you'd think it'd be exempt, but they've actually made it now that the QR code doesn't work. Nothing works when you try to search this. It's insane.
Don't worry, guys. The video is coming out. We're going to play the video in its entirety.
Yeah, we're actually going to start it now.
Okay.
We're going to play it for you and you know, bear with us. It was last minute. This is like really just bleeding edge. It just came out like an hour or two before the show.
This is the video that we're hyping up and talking about that has been shared probably 100 million times.
So the subtitles are there. They're a bit incorrect because it's machine translated. We just had to do that. We're going to show it to you. So let's just do that and we'll come back and we'll talk about it, okay? So here it is. This is the video that's been hyped up.
目前我们上海没有封城，现在也不必封城。基于当前上海的疫情形势， 我们将根据区域风险，
咱们也就下定决心封上3、5天啊，封上1周，不行吗？不行，为什么不行？因为上海，我们这个城市承载了不仅仅是上海人民自己的上海，我们这个城市还承载了在全国社会经济当中发挥了重要的功能。我想我们全部的上海市民应该有这样的大局观。
就是我现在告诉你一个事实，就是病房很紧张，隔离点没有房间，120没有车，这个就是事实。现在嘛，让我通知人家阳性，健康云上嘛是个阴性，我们都让人家打1235投诉健康云，搞什么搞嘛？
现在连上海发布微博上面都关闭评论了。
今天早晨4点多钟就来了，到现在都几点了？这个菜是不是要全部烂掉？水也没得喝，上海有小卖铺有没有？吃没得吃。我是来支援的，无偿的。我现在连温饱都解决不了。
知道我们有浦东的居民、浦东的朋友们，他们收到大礼包，上面印的是宝山区政府。你让我们作为宝山区大场镇的居民是作何感想？同时，你知道吗？前面2天你们搞的所谓。
我也需要上面有好的政策来给我可以对居民有交代。现实是没有，知道吧？没有，这个工作让我身心疲累。
要把他打死！哎呦天哪！
我们都是一栋楼的，我们都是好朋友啊。你是来自于这么远的地方到我们这里很不容易。
阿姨一定要让人家看看，谁说外乡人在上海不那个啊？
还有好点这个咸菜粥吃一吃啊！
警察给我们送饭来了，上海的好警察，几天没吃饭了。
搿是阿拉爷，从早上的8点钟120来来回回去了2趟，没医院接手。告居委讲医院肯定能接手的，现在就搿种状况，没人救，也没人来处理搿桩事体。那侪是爷娘养的，是人做出来个事体吧？
我现在消毒，把它上来就掉。为什么？那我们吃什么？这我不管，再消毒。
他不让你进吗？
小区不让进的。
人家住在里面的不让人家进，有这个道理吗？
已经去跟街道讲了，街道就讲了这问题啊。是小区的街道讲。
我原来昨天就想送给你的，为什么呢？因为我怕这个大家相互感染。对。但是呢，今天我想了想，因为病毒呢都不会死人的，饿要饿死人的。
这个楼你看都还没有封顶，进来了以后就所有人先抢被子、抢床。
修完了，你看。那你告诉我哪里说这个？我不知道，我不是大白，我也是来隔离的。啊，
这种是连床都还没有支起来的，人家就直接睡地上了。
那你们发不发物资？
你发不发物资？你等通知，我们进去。
等通知，我们都快饿死了。我们都锁门呢。
火灾怎么办？你告诉我火灾怎么办？这里有人呢。火灾怎么办？
我的孩子发烧了。
不是说我们不配合，是我们作为志愿者，我们根本就做不了这样的事情，对吧？这样的话，我们志愿者还怎么做？明天过后，你们封条一撕，我们志愿者都不要
123我也打过了，110也打过了，对吧？
我知道您都打过了，您看有结果吗？
是没结果。
我也不知道他们到底在考虑什么事情。李老师，我真的很无奈，我现在比你更伤心。因为您仅仅是一个家庭，我看到的是无数个家庭。
对，你所谈的一切，我真的很理解。
你的情况我以书面的形式都已报过，电话打过无数次。
谢谢你。
对不起，李老师，我无能为力。
哎，真是。
Okay, so we have to first of all tell you that it might have been a bit confusing for some people, considering that the text on the screen, the subtitles that you saw there was just from the people speaking, but the actual text on the screen, if you can understand what it was saying, gives you more context. But what this is it's kind of a supercut of all the big events that have happened during the lockdown, okay? There have been certain events that have happened, such as people being refused from hospitals, some very well-known cases of people dying because of that. There's the people's pets being beaten to death, like that corgi, for instance. The people being told that outsiders are not welcome. The people that are starving to death or just starving, and the police refuse to help them. You know, there's all these
forced evictions put into these camps.
Yeah, the people arriving at the camps and it's chaos, and they can't get blankets. Yeah, the whole children being taken away from the parents. So what they did was they took the voice clips. They didn't even include the video, because these are the viral videos that have been going around China during this time that have all been scrubbed off the internet.
Yeah.
So they took the voice and they put the context up there. They actually would say, you know, like, look, this is... They put up a title there, and they'll be like, "This is what happened to this person's telling the old person this or that or whatever," or "This is the corgi that got beaten to death," and you hear the background stuff.
Sounds, yeah.
So it really is just a supercut. It's pretty mild.
Yeah, it's mild compared to the reality, to be honest.
All it's showing you is a city drone footage of Shanghai, and it's playing some sad music in the background, which is copyrighted, by the way, so we had to mess with it a bit, so that's why the audio sounds a bit weird. And it's just showing how the government lied, basically. In the beginning, it shows the clips where they said, don't worry, Shanghai doesn't need to go into a lockdown. Then it's like, oh, yeah, don't worry, Shanghai just needs a 5-day lockdown to, like, quash this thing. It'll all be fine. And then it's like, now it must be extended, and the people being refused to get back into their home, etc., all the clips. So you can see why this is so damaging to the Chinese government. Is because it shows, first of all, that they lied and that they were unprepared and they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. And it shows all the tragedy that has arisen, because there's been a lot of tragedy. A lot of old people have been affected by this. A lot of people have lost their lives, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got the whole separating children thing, beating pets to death, the starvation. In fact, you know, when you hear those people shouting out, like, give us food, when they were actually going out there and rioting because they didn't have enough to eat. You know what they should have done is they should have gone to Andy and gone to his bloody fridge and taken all of his huge amounts of supplies that apparently is overflowing with food.
Yeah.
Maybe he should, yes, seriously, Andy, how about you go give the people that need food?
Yeah, because the amount of people that have reached out about not getting food, they're kind of left high and dry here.
Yeah.
It's kind of not fair that a foreigner gets to get all this food.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is probably the most censored video and the most... They've had to rush like crazy to stop this video from going viral and from going everywhere.
But it did. It did go viral.
And now you're seeing it here, you know, on our channel.
Immortalized.
Yeah. So from the Chinese government, you're going to learn all about...
Papa, can you see me?
Yeah, the Streisand effect, because it's when you try to stop something like this, when you try to hide something like this, which, by the way, is a very well-meaning video, to show the struggles that the people of Shanghai have been going through. And even at the end, the message is, get well, you know, get well soon, Shanghai. You know what I mean? It's there to say, look, we're going through this terrible, tough time, and we hope that we can get well soon type thing. And they want to kill that video. They're trying their absolute best to destroy that video. It's
because
crazy.
the thing is, like, they probably would have accepted it, because there's a current narrative going around that China is going to throw Shanghai under the bus here and say, you dirty, greedy bastards.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't do this in the rest of the country because we're patriotic, and you, Shanghai, are privileged assholes. That would allow this video, to a certain extent, kind of be allowed to go out there, but there's too many implications that can be pointed at the central government.
Yeah.
And that's the issue that they have.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to point fingers at Daddy Xi or
Yeah.
Beijing.
And the fact that the zero COVID policy has been forced on the people of Shanghai and on the people of China by the central government, by Xi Jinping himself, it's his policy.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I didn't mean to say this was an anti-government video. What I meant to say is that they perceive it as an anti-government
Yes.
video. That's why it's being scrubbed.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just a humanitarian video.
Oh yeah. By the way, remember I got to bring this up. Remember you didn't put that? Oh no, I didn't send it to you. Last week, I said that Cyrus Jansen was. I asked him if he supports this lockdown, and he did reply to me, and he said that he thinks that they've gone too far.
Okay.
He also said that he doesn't appreciate being called Virus Jansen because
I think that's fair.
And that's fair. So I kind of I'm just going to say that look, the dude has called me all sorts of nonsense.
No, I get that, but it's not a tit for tat.
I know it's not tit for tat. I thought he was adult enough to be able to take a little bit of a ribbing, but apparently not. He really doesn't like being called Virus Jansen. And the only reason we called him that is because of his staunch support of the zero COVID policy and how China has dealt with the coronavirus so far. So yeah, I take it back. It was immature of me. Poor taste.
Yeah.
Going to call him Cyrus
that.
from now on.
Sure.
Not Virus, definitely. So yeah, apologies for that. And I also want to say thank you to Cyrus for actually answering my question finally. Took a bit of a push, but it's good to know that he did think they went overboard with this.
Good.
So it's good.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Some
always open
reasonability
to reasonable stuff, and I applaud and I appreciate and I respect when people reach out and actually have a proper dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I had to get that out the way. Now, that's in our next segment. We're kind of done with this video thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't have time. It was just breaking, by the way.
Yeah.
So we didn't have time to translate it.
We would have done a better job.
It will be translated soon, I'm
we
sure.
would have done a better job to get it out there, like properly translate everything. But like you said, it just come out. I actually hope it continues to find a way to be shared around, because they are really good at cracking down on this stuff. And you saw how many times people tried to share it and it just got deleted.
For sure.
And on everyone's WeChat feed, that was the only thing in there, which is insane.
Yeah.
Okay? Insane. Everybody's sharing it because at the end of the day, this isn't about the USA.
No.
All right? They can always point fingers at the USA or point fingers somewhere else and say, America bad, China great, and they've always got this stuff. This is Chinese people kind of coming together and saying, this is unacceptable. They're all agreeing with this, and it doesn't matter if they're Shanghai elites or if they're somebody from anywhere else. This has been a massive failure on the CCP's part, okay? Absolutely, and it's being reflected in society by videos like this, by this kind of sentiment that's going on.
Agreed.
And it's fantastic to see, because now let's just say it's not partisan. It's like all Chinese people, they can have one focus here, and that this is bad.
Right.
It's not this like, because America crap that you hear all the time. It's actually like, the situation in Shanghai was handled poorly.
Very
It's
poorly.
bad.
Yeah.
We don't like it. Everybody feels sad. Let's discuss it. They try to put it out there. Let's bring this out there and actually talk about it, and it's being deleted.
Good point, yeah.
Anyway, should we take a couple super chats and move on?
Yeah.
Cool.
Orcavino says, fellow F-14 lover here.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of the YF-12? It's an interceptor relative to the SR-71, so basically a Blackbird with missiles.
Yeah, I actually have.
Okay. David Brooks.
I love the SR-71. It's amazing.
So, wasn't that some crappy band?
No, it's a Blackbird.
I know. It was also a crappy band.
No.
Obviously named after the plane.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. Yeah. If it was a band, I've never heard of it.
It's definitely a band. They're like a one-hit wonder. You've definitely heard of their song.
Okay. Sure.
Papa, can you hear me? I just want to see what song it was.
Oh, it is. There is a band.
An American rock band known for their song Right Now. Yes. Oh,
I don't know.
You would know if you heard it.
Okay.
Any update and going to Japan? Yeah, when we can.
Absolutely. By the way, I'm brushing up on my Japanese finally.
Yeah.
I decided it's time. I realized that it's been 20 years since I studied any Japanese.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, if you don't ever use it, you lose it. just like any other language.
Sure, of course.
I don't ever speak Japanese or read or write it, so I've decided enough is enough. It's time for me to get back into that.
Ili Lei Seti. Look, Mom, I'm on TV.
Oh, okay.
David Brooks, are you familiar with Accented Cinema, the YouTuber at all? And what do you think of his work on Chinese and East Asian cinema in general? Yeah, a long time ago we watched some of his stuff. I thought it was all right. Will Smith slapping Xi Jinping. Great translation movement. Desperately needs Spanish translation due to CGTN targeting Latin American countries. Agreed.
Yeah, I hope they expand and start to recruit people, to be honest. But you've got to be so careful because they have so many enemies that, they can't just go out and trust anyone.
No.
Yeah.
Eli Dormrath, would you guys ever consider doing coverage on the Chinese endangered animal trade? We've done that a lot.
Yeah, I've got quite a few videos about that, especially when it comes to Africa. You can search on my channel, anything about China and Africa, you'll find a few videos.
I've done at least 3, and on ADVChina, we've probably done a handful.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work. I've been listening to y'all nonstop while I quilt.
Awesome.
Very much. Thank you very much.
Hope you make a cool quilt.
Sea Milk, are the days of you doing videos of your wife reacting to American things done now? Yeah, that's well done, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Old Salt, with all the corruption in China, why hasn't COVID testing been corrupted? Like pay a fee to pass your test. What are you...
Yeah, we spoke about that last week. You could buy negative test results on Taobao.
Of course you can. They're taking bribes.
Yeah.
Light Seeker, what is this?
That's his... Okay, let me get this right. This time. Porusaku. Borusaku. Ballsack. Yeah. All right. See? It's not. Yeah. Okay. Where's Borusaku? There we go. Yeah.
Borusaku, Japanese version.
Yeah. Japanese version of ballsack. So, I do get it right sometimes. It's not like piss cookies. Anyway, time for us to move on, right? Time for us to hit Wumau Corner, which is interesting because I think you got the media pack the wrong way around this time because that's not Wumau Corner.
No.
That's
what are you going to do?
Which is our Wumau Corner then? This?
Right there, yeah.
Okay. All right, so bit back to Frontier. But here we go. Wumau Corner. It's kind of funny, this part, don't you think?
I mean, it's also just insulting.
It's insulting.
But it's a little both.
So...
Wang Wenbin.
Yeah, so the Chinese foreign ministry spokesman told Sweden that they must respect the religious beliefs of Muslims.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
There is some bullshit protest thing that was happening in Sweden where people were trying to burn the Quran, which is very disrespectful.
Of course.
Now that being said, that did not mirror the sentiment of everyone in Sweden, and they tried to shut it down, right? Yeah. Now there's some rioting and all this kind of stuff. That's besides the point. The point is that there's religious freedom in Sweden, right?
Yes.
And because of a handful of extremists, China used that as an opportunity to jump on and say, you need to respect religious rights as they genocide millions of Uyghur Muslims in
It's disgusting what they're doing to the Muslims in China.
Yeah.
They force them to shave their beards.
Yeah,
they're not allowed to have religious iconography anywhere. Yeah, they force them to eat pork, force them to drink alcohol. Talk about respecting religious
sleep with their
beliefs.
wives to impregnate them with Han Chinese people.
I mean, yeah, this is it's not correct. This is not how you respect the religious beliefs. So
what do you think that is, actually?
Oh, you know what that is? That is, let me find it. It's around here somewhere.
Yes, and it's perfect because that is a wolf warrior himself.
Yeah, he is a wolf warrior.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's see what's next in our Wumau Corner. When it decides to, there we go. Yeah, what do we got here? Okay, we're going to show you something.
Well, we have to explain this real quick.
Yeah.
This is already dog whistle offensive because this is pro-Russia propaganda. But no, we've got to tell you why we're going to play this.
Yeah, we got to show this.
This has something very much in common with Chinese horrible, crappy, rip-off, plagiarized propaganda as well. So look at what I found.
Yeah, look at this. Okay, we'll watch this quickly. Here we go.
Есть на земле большая страна, прекрасна, честна и духом сильна, богатство природы, широкий край, Россия. Славься, родная моя, героев память храни на века, священные земли, победный май, Россия.
The Z thing really makes me sick.
Well, I mean, what you've got here, first of all, is a bunch of Florence Nightingale-looking Russian ward nurses.
Why do they gotta be wearing this shit?
I have no idea. And they're singing this bloody annoying sea shack song again.
Sea shanty.
They
copied the sea shanty.
They did,
song.
and they used the Z, the Russian Z thing, and it's on YouTube Kids.
Come on! How? Wait a minute. Let's back up.
Yeah.
So we have a plagiarized sea shanty.
Yes.
Made by a New Zealand singer, very famous, which is coming up here.
Yeah.
That China's used to rip off for their propaganda. For Russian war propaganda.
Yes.
For wartime nurses.
Yes.
Assembling in that horrible Z formation, which is their war dog whistle, supremacist logo.
Sure.
Put out by a Russia supremacist channel called Z. What is it?
Z Fighters.
Z Fighters. Z Fighters. And it's on YouTube Kids.
On YouTube Kids.
All of those things together. What a witch's brew.
Yeah, exactly. So we thought we'd remind you all how China also co-opted this song for their stupid propaganda as well. So let's show that.
What is YouTube doing, by the way?
I don't know.
Use democracy as a cloak, a merry-cracy rules the world. If any country said no, you would bash it as your foe.
Of course, as you guys remember, it's called The Wellermen. It's by Nathan Evans.
Yeah, this is the original song for those of you who wonder why all these like communist-ass, socialist countries like to steal this. I don't know why. You must be proud.
There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was a belly of tea.
Anyway, you get the idea, right? What I just have to ask, number one, Russia and China. I know Russia's not communist, well, neither is China. Authoritarian countries,
Sure.
Why are you using the sea shanty to plagiarize, to make propaganda? Because everyone knows that song. It's got 110 million views on YouTube. Everyone knows that song. They're going to hear it and they're going to say, why are you doing this?
Sure. Can you not make your own thing?
Make your own shit.
I'm surprised they're not singing like, what shall we do with the drunken sailor?
Yeah, right. Man, that's next, right?
Yeah.
And my plea to YouTube, I mean, I know Russia and China are going to make this kind of shit, but can you stop putting war propaganda on YouTube Kids?
Yeah, stop allowing that.
Yeah. Because
please.
last week we caught Zhao Lijian, the China's foreign ministry spokesman, propaganda.
Yeah.
On YouTube Kids. They made a YouTube Kids account so that they didn't get the state-affiliated label.
Yeah.
Now Russia's doing it. Can you continue to take care of this, please?
Yeah,
It's kind of an
exactly.
issue.
Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it for this segment. Are we going to just hit world news? Just do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, world view, where we talk about everything in the world, specifically with regards to China. Now, we've actually got an interesting one here. Did you put the link in the description, by the way? Of Stan?
Yeah.
Okay. Take a look. You might recognize who's in this
欢
video.
迎来到今天的节目。今天我有邀请一位特别来宾，就是目前人在奥德萨的王吉贤。王先生您好，欢迎来到今天的节目。
哎，您好，您好 ，Stan。
真的是很不容易啊！现在战争中，您选择留在乌克兰。那我希望今天可以跟你聊一下，最近俄乌战争爆发的时候。
Okay, so what you saw there is a friend of the channel, Stan. He lives in Taiwan. His Mandarin, as you can hear from that, is absolutely impeccable. And
Shout out to Stan.
Yeah, shout out to Stan. We've got a link to his video in the description now. We featured the absolute mad lad, Jixian Wang, in our videos before here on the channel. Okay, and he's the Chinese guy who decided to stay in the Ukraine and started to call out the Chinese nationalists for their disgusting rhetoric online.
Yes.
They were talking about taking Ukrainian women as slaves and they were supporting the war, and it was negatively affecting all Chinese people living in Ukraine.
Yes.
Right? So that's why he had to come along and start making videos and saying, like, look, this is incorrect. He decided to stay in Ukraine to support, the Ukrainian people and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
So it's a good interview. If you want to go over to watch it a little later, the link is in the description.
Yeah,
so
we
please
support Stan. Stan is a friend of the channel, like Winston said, and give him a subscribe if you like his videos.
Yeah, go
They're
check
in Chinese,
it out.
but they get subtitles.
Yeah. He puts subtitles and he does have some English content too. Yeah. But just go give him a ADV sent me type thing on his channel if you don't mind.
ADV sent me.
Yeah, he's a very good guy.
Yes.
And this is a good interview to watch.
Yeah.
So we just thought we'd shout that out. All right, so what else do we have in World View? Let's take a look. We have something else right over here. This is terrible. Why is this happening?
So for listeners out there, what happened was New Zealand, no offense to New Zealand. Remember when we call out a country here, we're not talking about the people. Of
course not.
We understand. We have a lot of Kiwi friends. In fact, one of our music producers is a Kiwi.
Yeah.
Big fan of New Zealand.
You know who else is a Kiwi?
Who?
Is Fridge Man. Fridge Man Andy. With his bustling
Fridge
fridge.
Man.
Yeah.
He's frigid.
Yeah.
You know?
Just saying.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a bit of a symptom of what's happening, I think.
Yeah.
What's really concerning me, and this is going to get all the tankies excited, but like the alliance, like a typical Western alliance, Democratic alliance, is now seeing New Zealand really go its own way. But it's not like we're going to go our own way because we love, just being independent.
Sure.
It's masquerading as that. Taking a very pro-China stances. When you see a democratic nation that is allowing extradition to China, to the PRC, because the PRC, the People's Republic of China, convinced that government that they would have a fair trial, is warning bells for miles. Now, this guy, let's be honest, the proof, we don't know.
Yeah.
He's not going to stand a fair trial in China.
No, he's not.
I'm not out there to say, did he murder someone or not?
Yeah.
Very well could have happened.
Yeah.
Right?
You never know.
The issue I have with this is that he's not going to get a fair trial in China because China doesn't have an independent judiciary. They have a 99% conviction rate.
Yeah.
And it's a conviction rate in a system that has no, like I said, independent
no
judiciary.
checks and
There's
balances.
no checks and balances, and it's fully mandated by whatever court order is issued by the central government.
Yeah.
So when you have a system like that, you can't have a country that has a free independent judiciary extraditing citizens, even if they're from that country, to that place to face certain positive jurisdiction, or what's it called? Guilty verdict.
Yeah.
If it's 100% guaranteed, then you have to look at yourself as a democratic nation and say, we probably should stand on the the side of fairness and justice,
Sure.
and do this here, right? And this is the worrying thing: is it's way bigger than this guy that they're sending back.
Yeah, because it's setting a precedent now.
It's setting a precedent, and like BBC put in quotes here, disturbing precedent. I will agree with that.
Yeah,
because it gives
the Chinese government so much power,
and also takes away so much power from Chinese citizens that are in other countries that maybe are actually dissidents and not criminals, right?
Yes.
So if China decides and sets this precedent and says, okay, we're not just talking about murder anymore, or big crimes like this. This person actually is declared a terrorist. China, okay, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
China declares a person who organizes a protest a terrorist.
Right, which they can.
Yeah, no, that is the law.
They do, yeah.
Right? So if you're a person that organizes protests in America, right, and you're a Chinese citizen, China has declared you as a terrorist, so they will do anything. Any means is justified by them. They won't abide by rules anymore.
Sure.
They will do anything in their power to stop that person, even if they're abroad. Now, if you set a precedent to give them legal recourse to do this, to send them back from a different country, that's a huge problem.
Well, that's the thing. They can make up anything they want. Say there's a dissident in New York, or let's go back to New Zealand. So there's a dissident in New Zealand, who's he's got his newspaper and he talks about the bad things that the Chinese government does, and he makes a newspaper and he distributes it amongst the Chinese diaspora there and whatever, okay? And the Chinese government decides, we don't want this guy exposing our secrets anymore. We don't like this guy. He's really like a thorn in our side. Well, all we need to do is say that he murdered someone here, and the New Zealand government will send him over. It's that simple. Yeah. Because they can make that up.
And we're jumping like further on.
Sure, but I mean, why not?
Why not? Why not?
Because this worked.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy murdered someone, so extradite him. Don't worry, we'll give him a fair trial. Yeah. And New Zealand's like, sure, no problem. Here, go deal with him. Okay. What about the innocent people that are going to get caught up in this? Yeah. Because once that precedent is set, then why not? Why would the New Zealand government have a reason to refuse any other requests in the future to extradite people?
No reason.
Yeah.
Why would you?
New Zealand, get your act together.
That's very worrying.
Yeah, exactly. And ask your fridgeman to come home.
Well, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, but ask him nicely.
Be like, come on home.
Yeah, come on home.
Why though?
We can give you a bigger fridge. Give you a bigger fridge. I don't know. Okay, so that's that part. That's worldview, and it's time for us to hit Yamcha. So let's do it. So everybody, you know what Yamcha is by now. This is where we have a discussion. We just have a chat. We answer all your questions. We're going to have that debate as to whether lime is actually cutting your mouth open or if it's actually just being used as a chemical transport. We're going to talk about that here. It's going to be fun. And of course, you get to watch this live.
A niche debate.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to watch it live.
Sure.
You can watch it over the weekend. On Monday, we cut it out and put it up for patrons, but there's no paywall. You can watch it now and on the weekend. If you haven't been, or if you're not watching us now or on the weekend, we'll say farewell and stay awesome. And we can't wait to see you next time. But for those of you sticking around, it's time to loosen the tie and have a chat.
So someone with a science background, please chime in, maybe a super chat or something so we can see it, and explain Winston's, let me see if I get this right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a betel nut. A betel nut is a nut that comes from a palm type tree. And basically it's wrapped with something called an areca leaf, right?
Yeah.
Don't cherry pick your own bullshit ass
I'm looking it
reasoning.
up.
You're going to go to like science.biz.
No.